Yes, we are live. So, Ryan, many thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule to come and have a chat with me about all things Bears and a lot of other things as well besides. First of all, I was asking you, where are you now? You're in.
I'm in Brisbane.
Wow.
Yes. A place called Darra, which is about 30 minutes outside of the city.
Excellent. On the Gold Coast.
Not far, it's about 45 minutes to an hour from the Gold Coast.
Right. And have you been? Well, they haven't started playing Aussie rules football yet, have they? But that's.
I've been to a few cricket games.
Have you?
Me and Gavin Parr went to the Ashes together.
Wow.
And then I've been to a few of the Big Bash, the T20 games.
Excellent. They are superb. I must admit, I do. As with Gavin and also Berwick have got a well-known cricketer in Jai Etheridge, but the Ashes didn't go quite as well as
it didn't.
No. And let's face it, fair enough. I mean, that Travis Head moving him to number one, an opening batsman. What a difference!
Yeah, it did the job for him, didn't it? Unfortunately for us, it did the job for him.
Unfortunately, yeah. Mind you, we've finally managed to win an ODI away from home in Sri Lanka on Saturday.
Yeah, I think the next one's to do. The final one's to do.
Yeah, might be tomorrow morning. I seem to remember that there was a gap of one day, Thursday, Saturday, and then I think it's tomorrow. Anyway, we're not here to talk about cricket. We can get onto that later on. I suppose my first question I normally ask everybody that joins up: what on earth possessed you to get involved in the totally deranged sport of Speedway?
That's a good question. So my dad was used to go when it was at Cleveland Park.
Yes.
And then in 2012, he started going to Redcar, now called the Echo Arena.
Yep.
And for about, I'd seen Speedway on the telly. I was 2012. I will have been about 18. And my sister was about 14. And my dad kept saying, "Oh, do you want to come with?" And I was like, "No, I'm not really interested, thanks." And after about 3 weeks, he kept asking. And he was going on his own. So I thought, well, I'll go with you tonight. And then my sister said, "Oh, I'll come along as well." And I went along, and I never looked back. I remember Aaron Summers was racing for us, and Kevin Dillman was racing for us. And then I never looked back, and I started working with the club just during COVID.
Lovely. And what was your? Obviously, you've seen a few riders over the years. Who would be your favourite Redcar Bears rider? Your sort of number one.
On track or just in terms of
it's well known in Berwick that I'm a bit of a fan of a certain rider, but everybody has their own riders that they. I mean, we had Gary Flint on last week, and for him it was Jimmy Nielsen. He was even a member of the Jimmy Nielsen fan club, So now I must admit, I was actually a member of the Klaus Christensen fan club. So who's your number one rider as a rider?
Probably Jason Edwards. It's great how he's progressed over the years.
Right.
Because I remember we have a smaller program now, but we used to have a bigger program, like a full 16 page, and I used to review the away riders for the program just over the phone, and then record it and then transcribe it. And there was 2 riders, I can't remember the other ones, who actually made a point of coming up and speaking to me after when their team at the time, so at the time he was with Plymouth, came to Redcar. And then Jason guested for us at Birmingham and then signed for us the next season. And then he just went up slowly but surely every year. And he's a lovely guy as well.
He is, yes. He's guested a couple of times for Berwick as well. I remember the May first. Yeah, yes, don't they all? I remember going to Redcar the first time, and 6th and 7th for Redcar back then were Jason Edwards and Jordan Jenkins, and they've both made vast improvements. And so, what would be your favourite team from a particular year? What year which team would you say? It could be because of a success. It could be last year's because of the success they had, or it could be.
It's probably between the team that won the Knockout Cup in Newcastle or last year's team. The team, probably it's tight. I'd probably go with last year's team.
Right. Who was notable in the team that won the Knockout Cup?
It's going to sound strange, but Tom Woolley.
Yeah.
So we made 3 changes. Ben Barker, Ulrich Ostergaard, and Tom Baker. Tom Baker had an injury. Left the side. Oh no, sorry. Ostergaard had already left. It was Bacon, Jack Smith, who's now with Berwick Rider, and Ben Barker, Jack Smith, and Tom Baker, but Tom Baker was injured. And so we brought in Eric Riss, Casper Anderson, and we had to fill a 2-pointer, and Tom Woolley was our 2-pointer, and he made great progress throughout the season, and then obviously ended with, I think that was his only ever championship club that he rode for, and now he obviously has mechanicked quite successfully for Brady Kurtz.
All right. Excellent.
Yeah, he's mechanic for him definitely last season, but definitely the season before. He's a lovely lad as well, Tom.
Yeah. So, obviously, every time I've been to Redcar, I've seen somebody running around the pits desperately, often with a camera or some sort of notepad, and you've been busy on your social media activities. Would that be fair to say?
Yes.
When did that come about? How did it come about, and when did you start doing that?
So when during COVID, as I said, well, it was just before COVID because we thought we were going to have a season. Ben Duffel put a post on social media saying we need people to write in the program. So I replied, and then he replied back to me. But then I just left it. I didn't do anything. And then after about 3 weeks, I'll just have a go at this. So I interviewed Casper Anderson. I sent it in, and Ben was like, "Oh, this is really good. If you'd like to write in the program in the 2020 season, the season that never happened, we can. I'll give you a free program, etc., etc." So that's how it started. And then after that, we had COVID, so the season didn't happen. And then I just got more and more involved with the social media. And then Martin Hunter, who now runs BSN with Ben, decided that he had too much on his plate with BSN and run social media for Regda. So I got asked if I'd do it, and then I did it up until the end of the calendar year.
And kept going.
Yes, and kept going. No, I mean like now, this calendar year, last calendar year.
Yes, yep.
Yes.
And for me, I think the interaction that you get via social media is what's really important, isn't it? It's.
Oh yeah, it's massive. Yeah, you got. Some people who still don't know that, which is annoying. That you'll say, "Oh, Speedway," and they say, "Oh yeah, there used to be a club. It's now a school, Macmillan School." They're like, "Oh no, there is." They came back in 2006. They're like, "Oh, yeah. I didn't know." And there's people who don't know, which is a bit annoying, but.
I'm a peripatetic music teacher. I've got piano pupils, and the number of parents who say, "Well, I did the piano when I was younger. I wish now I'd stuck at it." And it's like, yeah, but you didn't. You need to stick at these things. But yes, getting. I think getting. We've got in British Speedway. I think looking round, I think we've got incredible fans at all the clubs. And they just need to be, regularly kept up to date and be given stuff that they can then use for their friends, etc., etc. Would you agree with that when you've been around the country? I've only ever met nice fans everywhere I've been. Yeah,
there's a lot of really good people in the Speedway. Like I was saying to you before we went live, when I came out here, Gavin Parr was out here for his honeymoon with his wife Christine, and we went to the cricket. And at lunch, we were just walking around. I was trying to get ice cream, couldn't get one. And we were just about to walk back to our seats. We bumped into 3 Workington fans in Brisbane. Yeah, and we had a nice chat with them. So you literally see Speedway fans, because I had my Bears top on, and someone shouted Raker or something along the lines of that. And they were 3 Workington fans.
Oh, yep. And So I'll take you back to when you finally got to be sort of working in the pits as the social media guy. So that would have been what, the 2020 was wiped out. So 2021.
2021, yeah, 21, yeah.
And what was the team makeup then? Who was in the team then?
Oh, you asked. Jenkins was in the team. Charles, obviously.
Yeah.
Jason Edwards. God, now you're asking. Casper Anderson, I think, was in the team. Eric was in the team, I think. But now you're pushing me on the other show.
That's fine. It was just to get the. I got this sense that there's quite a bit of continuity in the car lineup from year to year. And am I right in thinking that Jason Edwards is that he's got this nickname that's something to do with Billericay? Is that right?
Billericay Blaster, Roy calls him. Yeah. Right.
I just think about a song by Ian Jury and the Blockheads that also mentions Billericay, but I'm very old school.
Yes, the Billericay Blaster. That's how he's known at Redcar.
That's it. Yeah. And so then, yes. So Charles Wright. Well, Eric Rees did actually go off for a year to Oxford, didn't he?
Not in our league.
No. What? Who was it?
Until this season, he's obviously went to Oxford this season for the season coming up, but he had a year out. He rode for us last year. The year before, he had a year out from Championship Speedway. He didn't ride in the Championship in. Sorry, that's my phone alarm. Yeah. He didn't ride in the Championship in 2024.
Right.
Yeah, he didn't ride in the Championship that year. That was after he had his health problems in 2023.
Okay, so just run me through the team last year because as you say, that was basically your favourite, I suppose, team of that you've seen on.
Yeah, we had Charles at 1.
Yep.
And Jake Mulford rode the majority year at number 2.
Indeed.
At 3 and 4, it was Jason at 3 and Danny at 4 to start off with. But then with Eric at 5 until Eric was unfortunately unwell. And then we started off with Tom Spencer at 6 and Ace Piper at 7.
Yep.
And then unfortunately the management decided to get rid of to dispense Tom's services in the Championship and bring in Geordie Scott. And then after Eric rode against Derek for us, he unfortunately had to withdraw from the rest of the season due to ill health, which was a shame, which meant Danny moved to 5. And obviously we brought Geordie Scott in, and then there was a point where Jake Mulford dropped to reserve and Geordie Scott came into the main body of the team. And then Ace Piper had a fantastic year at reserve. He really, really made a big impact. And then Geordie Scott, he just got better as the season went on and arguably won us the BSM series at Poole.
Indeed. I mean, I suppose from a bandit's point of view, I remember when Ace Piper made his debut in the in the 3rd tier, the National Development League, and that was when he was still only 15, and it was obvious that come the start of the next year, he should have been guaranteed number 7, but of course typically the Glasgow Tigers come along and they nick him and take him over to the dark side on the west coast, So he's improved tremendously, hasn't he?
Well, yeah, I think getting dropped from Glasgow is probably the best thing that could have happened to him. And then he's come on leaps and bounds since then. But I thought the same as you, that when he rode for the Bullets, I thought, I'll ride for the Bandits the year after, but obviously it just never happened. Yeah,
I don't know what the situation there was, but it's good that having been dropped, and that can't be nice for the young lad, to then keep going. I'm sure having his dad to help him, keep him going, he's destined to I think to do really well. The sky's the limit for him, isn't it?
But his confidence grew throughout the year. He started a bit slower, but riding in the National League for the Middlesbrough Tigers really helped him as well. He had one meeting against Edinburgh. I think it was Edinburgh where he scored really. We lost the meeting, but he scored really heavily, and that put him back on the right track. Coincidentally, we had a meeting before that. We had a meeting at Edinburgh in the Championship, and he really had a tough night, and he was really down with himself.
Yeah.
But he really battled through, and then by the end of the season, so at the start of the season, if you said to him, right, you're going to score 4 points towards the end of the season, he would have said, snap your hand off. And then when he would score 4 or 5 points, he'd be like, no, I want more. But the improvement was phenomenal. I might be biased, but I think we've got the best reserve pairing in the league so far.
Yeah, I mean, as I say, for me, there's always been a continuity with the with the red car team. It doesn't seem to be chopping and changing very, very much, because you've got obviously Charles Wright is there, and then shock horror, I heard, because it was at the Red Car Bears was at the end of season party, Danny King saying that he's having to go elsewhere because of this new rule about only one 8-point rider in each team. And I'm like, have I missed something? When did this rule came out? When did you hear about it?
I read it on the forums, but I couldn't get a proper answer really. And then I was speaking to Danny, and it became obvious that unfortunately you had to move on, which I think it's an absolutely stupid rule personally. I really do, because you're going to have it. By the way, I think this rule lasts one season only. But what I see happening is, let's say it does last more than 1 year, which I don't think it will, you'll have a rider, let's say a foreign rider, because they don't get a reduction, on an 8.1, and towards the end of the season they're going to start dropping a little bit, and the 7.9 will become like the holy grail. And then, like, Speedway is not the most financial, got the most money in the world. We all know that, especially British Speedway. These riders who are a 7.8 or a 7.9 rider can then demand much more money because they know they're more in demand, and the 8+ point riders can also demand more money because they know they have to put them in the team. So it seems like a stupid rule to me. I don't know what you think, but I'm not really a fan of it.
I think I can see the idea behind it. What I didn't like was the fact that, as you say, it was one of these cases of, we'll just put this story out, and it was like nothing official. It was like, why not tell us what's happening? Because honestly, here at Berwick, we finished the season like an express train with 4 heat leaders. 4 guys who even Matt Ford of Poole said that if Berwick had started the season the way they finished it, they'd have been unstoppable because of the riders. And then right at the end of the season, both Jonas Jeppesen and Peter Kilderman, they got paid maximums over at Workington. And it's like brilliant. We've got these fantastic riders, and then all of a sudden there's this rule come out. Jonas Jeppesen, he's gone to Workington, and Drew Kemp isn't coming back. Well, okay, that's obviously disappointing. I'd have liked to see him back, but that's the way it is. But the other thing that bugged me was that in all the years that Berwick have struggled to put a team to finish better than bottom of the league, there's nobody come up with the idea of, I'll tell you what we'll do. That team, they've got a load of heat leaders. We'll spread them around. Nobody was there to help us when we needed it, and now all of a sudden we, somebody's really taken the jam out of our donuts.
Right. The thing that makes really, like, it's very strange. Like, officially, it's only for the starting team as well. So if a promoter wanted to be really, really harsh, you could actually sign a team 6 points under the limit if you wanted to. Let's say a rider's an 8. Yep. You could sign a 2-pointer after one official meeting, drop him, and bring in the guy you actually wanted to ride for you, which is absolutely stupid. If you're going to have the rule, make sure you have it till June, July time, in my opinion.
As you say, the problem is that there is the sort of manipulation of it that seems a bit bizarre. But the other thing I heard was that it just so happened that there was the right number of riders above 8 points to go round, because Nikolai Clint wasn't riding in the championship, and I'm thinking, yeah, but hold on a sec, Scunthorpe have brought in Josh Pickering,
an extra one,
who wasn't in the championship, So what? Everybody can go and get a rider of whatever caliber they like if they want to try and persuade somebody who is currently in the Premiership, who could come in because they're not. I think you have to be on a. You'd have to be on an 8 point average or less in the Premiership to then qualify for riding in the Championship. There's a lot of really good riders there, but obviously they're only riding in the Premiership because they've got other commitments to do. But yeah, it did seem a bit bizarre to me. And so Danny King is now off to Plymouth, and you've also Eric Rees has gone, as you say, to Oxford. So the 2026 lineup for Red Car Bears. Can you give us that?
Yeah, you've got Charles, obviously at number one. I don't know the actual official, but we'll just like the 1 to 7. But Jake Mulford's in there again, returning again. Jason Edwards is back again for I think it's his 5th year now with the Bears.
Yeah.
Jake Allen rode for us after COVID, has come back. He guested us for us really well after his season at Scunthorpe finished. You might not know this, Paul. When he had his crash at Redcar, his bike actually hit my dad.
Oh, gee whiz.
Yeah, so we were sat in the hospital. Me, my dad, my mum, Jake, and Jake's girlfriend. Yeah, that was because I was up on the scoreboard doing the scoreboard, and someone ran and got me. He was like, "Ryan, you need fun." I was like, "Why?" Like, your dad's been hit by the bike, and then I got there, and he's flat out.
Gee
which
whiz.
was mental. He was very lucky because hit him in the shin, hit him above the waist. He'd probably be dead.
Wow.
But luckily, only him in the shin. So anyway, you've got Jake Allen, John Jenkins. I think it's a big year for John Jenkins this year because he had an injury interrupted season last year. But you could actually, by the end of the year, have 4 heat leads at Regda because Charles Wright is obviously a number one in his own right. Jake Allen's a heat leader in this division in his own right. Jason Edwards, I would say now, is a bona fide heat leader in the championship. And if John Jenkins progresses like he can, and I know he can and he should, then there's a possibility we have 4 heat leaders. And then on the other hand, Jake Mulford's got to look over his shoulder if he doesn't want him to reserve, because if Jody Scott and Ace Piper, who are reserves, continue with their progression, then we could have the makings of a really good side.
Lovely. 2 seconds. I'm just going to let this puppy dog out because she's whining at the door. I'll just be 2 seconds, and then I'll ask you about Jake Mulford.
Okay.
Now, the Bandits don't have a junior team this year, in the National Development League. But when we did, and we saw a meeting actually live on Bandits TV last night at 7:00, and it featured Kyle Bickley, and he is the track record holder in the 3rd tier. But he's the track record holder in the 3rd tier, along with Jake Mulford. 66.6. He looks like he's gonna really progress into something fantastic. And did he not also ride in the Premiership with Bellevue?
He's rode a couple of years in the Premiership for Bellevue. He's only just been. I just read it. You might not even seen it yourself. He's just signed for the Kings Lynn Young Stars in the National Development League.
Right.
He hasn't got a Premiership berth as of yet. Hopefully, one comes up during the season for him. He didn't get picked for one of the Rising Star berths this season, as Willie. I think William Curtis went to Bellevue, wasn't he? So
who? Who's at Bellevue?
I think William Kearns has went to Bellevue in the national.
Oh yes,
in the Premiership.
yeah.
So that was Jake's spot, which they've now decided to go with Will Kearns. But Jake had a really good start of the year, really good end to the year. He had a bit of an interrupted middle because he was all over the Europe riding in events for Team GB and then in the SGP2. And but when he got back into the flow of coming back and riding for Redcar every week, he was really, really positive. He kind of made Heat 8 his own in the latter stages of the season.
Sure. So things looking rosy then for Redcar, and I remember mid-season Charles Wright and Jake Allen doing a few dance moves on the track there together. Obviously they got on well together, do they?
Yeah, I think so. I think that was more heat of the moment thing, to be honest. But and then obviously he guested for us after that. So I think it was just all water under the bridge. It was just a heat of the moment thing where Jake wasn't very happy about his machine and potentially the money it might cost, and both took out the frustrations on each other. Really,
it's one of those things, isn't it? That does get brought up time and time again, and that is the fact that you've got these riders that get fined for their on track shenanigans, and yet it's a case of that footage is actually quite good, because everybody says to me, Speedway, it's a family sport, but there's also an edge to it you've got these young guys who want to go out and ride as fast as they can, full throttle. So it's at times it can be car crash TV, which I don't think is a bad thing at all. It adds a level of excitement, does it not?
Yeah, well, obviously they both got banned for that, but then if I was the person who's been in the altercation, then the people who find me then also put it online and it's generated hundreds of thousands of views. So my question would be, which I'm sure they asked, why are you publicising it and getting a lot of eyes on it, but then you're also fining me for it? But the rules are there for a reason, I suppose.
I actually touched on this with Neil Vatcher because he is the coordinator. So he and the Speedway Control Bureau are the ones that are responsible for, in effect, punishing the riders. The British Speedway Promoters Association is the one that promotes it. So because they've got that footage, that they can kind of do it, because it's not them that's actually putting it out there. But yeah, it's possibly a bit of a grey area. Anyway, talking about
what did Neil Vatcher say?
Well, just that he's in charge of he's the coordinator, so he's in charge of the rules, and the rules say that you can't go having a wrestling match with another rider, but the BSPA is this, in effect, a separate entity, and they are the ones that are using it to promote to promote the Speedway. Anyway, moving on. We had, obviously, a couple of years back, we had a similar incident at Berwick between a certain Jai Etheridge and Connor Bailey. What on earth has happened to Connor Bailey?
I was speaking to Connor. Connor's just decided that he works in Mildura. He is a car mechanic in Mildura. I think he's really enjoying it. I've spoken to him quite a bit since I've been over here, and yeah, he's just working out here as a car mechanic. So, lovely guy, Connor.
Is that where he's from originally?
I think I don't know where he's from originally, but he's obviously from somewhere over here. I don't know where originally.
Yeah, but he's got.
Oh, you cut out there, Paul. Didn't hear you. I think we've lost Paul. Yes, we've lost Paul, I think, for a second.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh,
sorry about that. I was just saying, has he got Is there not something about he rode? He's got some sort of British connection, Conor Bailey, a British passport. Is that
yes. I don't know what the connection is, but I know obviously he did qualify to ride for Britain, I believe.
Yes. Excellent. So, just to wrap things up. Sorry, just 1 second. You could. I'm trying to do a live chat here, darling, and I've got these dogs running around, carrying on. Enough. I do apologise, Ryan. I've got 3 mad border collies, and they've decided to come down here and skate around the floor. Hopefully, we'll get them. Sorry. Final question. This is the beauty of live YouTube.
Yes, definitely.
It's one of the beauties. I know it is. It's the oldest one that's the trouble. So finally, if I can get round to it, the teams look. The thing we've heard about this 8-point rule is it means that we've got lots of even teams. Who would you say are the ones to watch this year? Which is the lineup? Because personally, every year I always look at Redcar and think that's a strong lineup. Usually Poole pretty strong. Everybody's saying Plymouth, Glasgow as well. But who for you are the ones that, apart from obviously your own team, who are the others that you look at and think They could be trouble when they come to town.
Poole are always going to be strong. That's just obvious. Poole will be there thereabouts at the end of the season. Glasgow, I think there's 3 teams who, all things being equal, would look to be towards the top of the table in Poole, Glasgow, and Redcar. Glasgow look to have a strong team because they've got 2 number 1s essentially in Howarth and Harris. And then you've got Leon Flint, who by the end of the year, all things being equal, he would hope to be above an 8-point rider, I would assume.
Yep.
So that's 3. You could say you've definitely got 2 Eatleys, and Leon Flint could easily be a number 5, but he could be at number 3 or 4. You've got Poole, who obviously have Richard Lawson, Louis Kerr, but it's obviously they have the 2 youngest reserves in the league. We have quite young reserves, but they've got Cooper Russian and Will Kearns down there. So will Kearns keep going up in the world? You would assume so, but he's now the senior reserve, although he's still only 16, 17-year-old.
Indeed.
So will that play a factor? Probably not, but you never know. And obviously Cooper Russian is incredible talent, but everyone needs time to develop, no matter who you are. And then you've got, let's go through all the teams, why not? You've got, although not all announced yet, you've got Plymouth, who look quite strong. You've got obviously a very, very experienced top 2 in Scott Nichols and Danny King. And they're a strong pairing. You got Cleamer, who rode 1 meeting for them, so and he broke his ankle last season, so I don't know that much about him. Unfortunately, Ben Trigger's started to take time away from the sport, so he's not got a team place at Plymouth or elsewhere. So Plymouth do look really strong in terms of a top 2. I'm surprised they didn't retain Alfie Bortel, though. I think Alfie Bortel's still got things to offer at this level.
Absolutely.
But was signed by Buxton earlier today, officially announced by Buxton to ride in the National League alongside Jack Smith.
Indeed.
Moving up the country, Oxford. Obviously, you got Sam Mars at 1. Sam Mars is one of the best riders in the league, which is just fact. But they look like they've got a really strong outfit, Oxford. I think they will be there or thereabouts. You've got Edinburgh Monarchs, who they obviously lost Victor Palavara to the Bandits, but they look strong again. A lot will rest on Paco Castagna, I think. Again, the captain of the Bandits. Dan Thompson, who's made the move across from Glasgow. If he can continue his upward progression that he continued last year, and obviously they have a nice home track advantage, you're looking for them to go well. Berwick, you've got a good, solid side, I would say. I would say that there's probably needs to be a little bit of improvement from the reserves at Berwick. Glasgow we've touched on. And Working, I genuinely have no idea. There could be flying, or it could not go. I genuinely, obviously, there's still a lot of riders who announce. They've announced an 18-year-old who I don't know anything about. But you've got, obviously, Jonas Jeppensen, who's a number one. You've got Troy Batchelor on his day can be a number one, and Craig Cook on his day can be a number one. So they've got the potential for a really exciting team. You've got Vinnie Ford at reserve, and Vinnie can be a very exciting rider. Yep. So they've got potential. I think every team you look at, there's no team where you think, oh yeah, we fancy taking them on and putting 50 past them. Mm-hmm. There's no team you'd really think, oh yeah, I fancy taking them on it at their place. I don't think there's a team. I don't know if you agree, Paul. I don't think there's a team where going into your first away meeting this season where you think, oh yeah, we really fancy this. We're really confident, because obviously teams will make changes throughout the season. That's just how the sport works.
Indeed.
But I'm not sure what teams will be up there at the end of the season. I think Poole will be up there. I think Glasgow will be up there. I think Redcar will be up there. But it's obviously a 14 playoff, which makes a lot more sense than 6 in a 9-team division. Who will be the teams battling for the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th positions? That's the question, because obviously Redcar have got 6 British riders, plus Jake Allen, who's obviously based over here now and based locally to Middlesbrough. So Jake Allen, I think it's a big year for Jake Allen, because he was at Scunthorpe a long time, and now obviously he's made the move back to Redcar. So him in that number 5 berth can do some good things. Scunthorpe, we missed out on Scunthorpe. Yeah. Obviously, there's a lot of points on the number 1 in Pickering, but brought back Michael Palmtoft after his half a season at Edinburgh. Now, if Tofty's on form, he can score big points around Scunthorpe.
Yep.
So in essence, I think this is a very, very competitive championship division this year. There's a lot of good riders.
Yeah, I think as you touched on, it's a case of who's going to make the improvements, and you look at the riders that you think should improve. I mean, obviously at Berwick, we're delighted that we've got Nick Morris back on such a low 6.8 average when he could easily be 9.5 in a short while. But then you're looking around the league at the other riders that could make huge improvements. I remember watching a clip of I think it was Ashton Bowden when he was riding at Redcar, and he was absolutely phenomenal. Did he not get somewhere near a maximum?
Oh, I don't know about that.
It was the year he was riding for Oxford. I think it was his first season, and he looked absolutely fantastic. But it's such a shame to see somebody like him pack in.
Lost to the sport. Yeah, it is a shame. Yeah. I think it all became a bit too much for him. I mean, I don't know the guy personally, but I think it all became a bit too much for him, unfortunately. But hopefully we'll see him back at some stage, because there's definitely talent in there.
Well, him and the other one I keep going on about, Kyle Bickley. He should have. It's a shame, because you look at the ones that have stuck at it, and particularly I think Dan and Joe Thompson. I remember one season they were getting kicked from pillar to post. They were being kicked out of one team, joining another one. They were there for a couple of months. Then they were getting moved on and found a team place somewhere else. But they stuck at it, and they're beginning to reap the benefits, aren't they?
Well, yeah. Well, obviously Dan Thompson is now number 1 at Edinburgh. Indeed. And Joe Thompson's back at Plymouth, isn't he? I'm pretty sure he's back.
I think so. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and he's another one who can make big improvements this year if he can step up and be that. Because Plymouth, Ben Barker as well, so they've got a very strong top 3. I think Ben's on a little bit of a false average as well, personally.
Yep. I suppose the other thing that we've got is on the one hand we've got all these youngsters coming in making improvements. You do wonder, I wonder, and I'm not having a go at Plymouth about this at all, but when you've got such an experienced team, you're thinking, well, where's, could they just be beginning to get towards the twilight of their career? You know, I mean, bless him, you know, Scott Nicholls, is he not 45 now? You know, how much longer
44,
can he?
45, yeah.
And, you know, I think, was it not Greg Hancock kept going until he was 47?
47, 48, Hancock, I think, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, you know, maybe he can keep going. But as I say, I do look at some of the teams, and if they've got a lot of riders, I would say over the mid-30s, is there not a question mark of to whether they will be able to maintain their average, or are they going to start, you know, is it going to start going south?
Well, I think like to Ben Bartlett, I think Danny King's got quite a few more years left in the locker. And I think Scott Nicholls at championship level, I think he could go for another 2 or 3 years personally.
Yeah.
Masters, I think he'll maintain his average. Charles Wright will maintain his average, in my opinion. I actually think Bomber's got more time in him as well. I think he'll maintain his average. Who else? Justin Sedgman, I think he can probably maintain his average. How old's Nick Morris?
I think he's just 31.
No, just a young pup then.
Yeah, I think Peter Kilderman is the oldest of the Berwick team, isn't he? Because you've got Palavara that's 31. He comes in on 8.28, if I remember rightly.
I don't see why he can't maintain that, I'll be honest.
Well, I mean, the thing is, he started the season because of him coming back into the league. He started on 8.5, so he's dropped up a 0.22. And of course, you know, it'll take him a while to get used to the Berwick track, because he rode for Workington, he rode for Swindon, but then, you know, that was like over 10 years ago, you know, where he was at big tracks like that. So but no, he I think he's going to be one that's going to be absolutely awesome. Well, he has been this year already. You know, he's just got a different style. I was saying to Greg Blair about this, that you know, when you watch him coming into the corners, he always gets a bit lower than anybody else, and he just seems which reminds me of the fact that you know, getting back to this social media thing, just to finish off, I'll just do a wee plug for the fact that this morning at 7 o'clock, we had the Total Access show with Greg Blair. And Sunday night, last night, we had the Speedway from Berwick Bandits video. That's Graham that does that. And I think it's absolutely brilliant the way that Berwick have upped their game in terms of their social media by having, you know, the Total Access show, by having the, you know, the reruns of the videos. And so it's almost like they've got their sort of official Berwick Bandits social media, and you've got people like me on the fringe. I'm like the fringe festival, if you like, you know. And I can't help thinking it's bound to make a difference, you know, in promoting the sport.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like was it 3 years ago now, I came up with the idea to do Bears Talk Live, which I ran until the start of I ran 2 years, and then Ian Brandon's took it over last year, and he's doing it again this year. So, and that got a lot of engagement. We started we did the first one with Eric Riss, and that was on YouTube. But then after that, we moved it over to Facebook, and it got a lot of traction on Facebook. And it's important because in the off season, you don't want to just go silent.
Yes.
And but Oxford also, they put all of their meetings, or putting all the meetings on YouTube for people to watch, which is good. Berwick do the Total Access, which is really good. And they had the new signing on, didn't they, today? Yes.
Reed Batty, the Aussie. Yes. Again, he's not like a 16-year-old novice. He's a 24-year-old former Superbike champion, you know. Blimey. I mean, you know, Speedway bikes accelerate a lot, but these Superbikes, you're talking hundreds of miles an hour on them, aren't they?
So what would constitute success for Berwick this season, Paul?
Well, every year, if we make improvements, that's what the fans are looking for. Personally, all I want from this season is to have another season the year after, and as long as we keep getting Speedway at Berwick, and they've been going from year to year to year to year. It's a tiny wee place, Berwick.
Yes.
Galashiels is bigger than where I live. Is bigger than Berwick.
Oh, is it?
Berwick's got a population of about 12,000. Galashiels is about 17,000. But I do appreciate the fact that for some for some of the places, some of the venues that's had Speedway, they might have larger populations, but they've got more competition from local sporting events, haven't they?
Yes.
You take for example Glasgow. Yes, it's got 1 million population, but there's quite a lot of football teams in Glasgow, and some of them are very, very big indeed. And you've got likes of brilliant down on the north coast. You've got obviously Newcastle, Sunderland. You've got Middlesbrough, and then you've got Hartlepool. I've been to Hartlepool a few times. I found that absolutely amazing. Everywhere you went, rooms were full of monkeys.
Yes.
Do you find that?
The monkey hangers. I don't. Well, when I'm home, I don't frequent Hartlepool that much. But no. I've been a few times to Hartlepool, of course. But like we talking about competition, I can't remember what year it was, but we ran against Middlesbrough Football Club. And a playoff meeting against Edinburgh, and it wasn't the right decision because we didn't get that many people through the gate because unfortunately Speedway cannot compete with football.
No, it can't. It's. I remember speaking to Stuart Dixon down at Poole when I went down there back in the in the previous in this season that's just passed, and he said, look at this, they've got, I would say typical turnout at Poole would be in the thousands, 2,000 to 3,000 every week, isn't it, that go along there?
Their main sport there, though, isn't it? That's their sport. They
don't even have the football at Poole anymore at Wimbledon. No. The pitch is still there, but they don't play the football there. I mean, okay, Bournemouth have gone from, I remember when they were in the old 4th division to now being a Premiership club. But also, I think, unfortunately, you've also got the fact that down on the south coast of England, there is a lot more wealth than there is, for example,
definitely,
when you look at some of the places we've got up here. Anyway, Ryan, it's been absolutely fantastic having you on to have a chat. And
no problem, Paul.
I'll keep in touch. And so, we wish the we wish all the teams the best of success if possible in 2026. It'll always be interesting to see how the riders progress, particularly as I say the youngsters, and as you say, like Sir Jason Edwards, he's I would put him in that Leon Flint, Jude Kemp, Dan Thompson category. They should be number ones now, shouldn't they?
Was it a surprise to Berwick fans that Drew Kemp didn't return this season?
Apparently he had mentioned before the end of last season that he was looking to do the try and get into the Polish leagues. I suppose, in fairness, I often say this, that you've got the Aussies that come over here, and they use the UK as a stepping stone to get to the Grand Prix and to get into Poland. And so if you're already here like Drew, then I can quite understand why he's kind of like taking himself out of that comfort zone. In the Championship, he's in many ways he's a big fish in a small sea, isn't he? Whereas he's going to expose himself to probably more competition. But look, we'll just have to wait and see. I definitely I can't imagine there would be a Berwick fan that wasn't disappointed when we realised that he wasn't coming back, because him and Chris Harris, when are the two fastest bandits bandits that we've ever had. You know, the last season, one of his heat times was 63.5, which was the same as Bomber. So that's only 0.6 slower than Dan Bewley's track record, and we're talking Dan Bewley. So yeah, and what was bizarre with Drew, of course, was nobody saw it coming. Nobody saw it.
Yeah. And he bounced around a bit, didn't he?
It was not on the radar. Yeah.
He bounced around the clubs, and then he seemed to find a format. When we were up there for a league match, I think it was a league match, I was speaking to Greg Blair, and Greg Blair was like, Drew Kemp gated. And he came round where me and Greg was sat, because we were sat on the golf buggy at the apex of 3 and 4. And Greg said, no one will pass him. And he's like, I've not seen anyone when Drew Kemp's out in front pass. Obviously, Shearfield Park's notorious for being a hard first to pass. Mm-hmm. But he said, I don't care who's behind him at this level. I haven't seen anyone pass him. I don't think anyone will pass him at this level. And no, in that race, he wasn't passed.
Yeah, he's had Bomber on his tail a couple of times and managed to sort of withhold Bomber because
you don't want him pressing you.
Well, he's the one that always springs to mind as the the ultimate around Shearfield. Would there be somebody similar at Redcar? Because of course, is Conor Bailey still the track record holder? Because he was
Conor
at one
Bailey's
time,
still the
wasn't
track record holder.
Yeah. Blimey.
The track record was broken twice in one night. Josh Pickering broke it, and then about 3 or 4 heats later, Conor Bailey broke it. And
again, am I right in thinking he was being chased by Sam Masters at the time?
Oh, I don't know about that. I'm going to say he wasn't being chased. I think he was clean out in front.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I think Sam Masters moved on from Edinburgh at that time. I could be wrong. I think he'd left Edinburgh at that point.
Right. Okay. Anyway, Ryan, as I say, that's blimey. I said we'd be about half an hour, but we're trying to sort these. Will you blinking dogs out? I'll make sure that they're shut elsewhere next time. Many thanks for joining. Paul. Yeah, keep enjoying the cricket, and we might see Steve Smith in tears again at some point.
You never know.
Fingers crossed. Anyway, catch you later.
See you later.
Cheers, Ryan. Bye for now.